Hi there and welcome. I'm Roben-Marie Smith, and this is the Makers Tech U Membership Spotlight. And I'm really excited to be talking today with Beth Chien. She's a mixed media artist and she lives in Chicago with her husband and her two rescue dogs. So we're going to chit chat today and find out a little bit more about her and about her art and her journey and how she got started and where she is now. So welcome, Beth. How are you today?
Thank you. I am so good. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yep, it's great to have you. Great to see you finally face to face rather than just
Yes,
do like photographs online, right?
right.
So, yeah,
And talking through MTU.
exactly.
So
Through messaging, and yeah, it's pretty nice to actually get to see you face to face. So, so let's tell me a little bit about your creative background and your journey, and where you are in that journey, how you got started.
sure. So, that's just a lot of people ask you that, like, how did you get into this? And really, I always want to say, I started scrapbooking with my mom in my 20s, which it really did get me, I would say, full force and real passionate about it. And it turned into art journaling, like I know it does for a lot of scrapbookers and a lot of people. But when I look back through some of my old tubs of things, that you have when you were a kid, I go back and I find that I was writing short stories when I was little. I always had a camera, always wanted a new camera for Christmas. I was always recording live one way or another. So I would say I've been kind of that creative my whole life, but I definitely got serious about scrapbooking in my 20s. And it's been about 15 years now that I've been into mixed media art. Like it just morphed because I wanted more. I was doing more of my scrapbooks. I was adding more and more paint. And I was like, okay, maybe I should take some painting courses because obviously there's something here. So
Right.
I'd say about 15 years. And
yeah, it's interesting how our background's a little bit similar in that. I'm older than you, but that scrapbooking was sort of like an intro into the mixed media.
A gateway.
Yeah, I did a lot of creative things when I was younger, but then there was a little bit of a gap and I dabbled in some other things. And then when I found scrapbooking, it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's very creative and it's therapeutic, but it just didn't seem like enough. And it was sort of like,
right.
What else can I do? And then you started, I think it was the premiere issue of Somerset Studio. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's this whole world out there that I've never seen. And it's called mixed media and art journaling. And then it was just like, from that point on, it just exploded. So it sounds a lot like your story.
Exactly.
One thing leads to another. You explore and then you find something, oh, I really like this. I want to learn more about it. Like you just
and said. Then you realize there's this whole world that was living without you. And I'm like, how are you living without me this whole time? I love this.
I know it's exactly.
So and true. I think the internet helped us out a lot to really see what was that there was this whole scrapbooking world and there was this whole mixed media art journaling world too.
Oh, for sure. And I know when I kind of got started, we didn't have Instagram and Facebook was kind of just new. And it was really just to find our high school friends. Like it wasn't like now. And so, but we had blogs, blogging kind of kicked off when I started kicking off my business. And it was like, that's how you followed people and found out how they were doing and what they did. And it was like that world did open up to us. And then the magazine. So it really did change everything. So tell me a little bit about Chicago. And does that influence your work in any way where you live? Because you're in an amazing urban city. So tell us a little bit about that.
I love Chicago. So actually, we've only been here since February. My husband and I, I'm from Missouri. So lived in St. Louis the last 15, 20 years, but I'm from a small town in Missouri, a little bit south of that. But I tell people I'm from St. Louis, it's just easier.
Sure.
And my husband and I, a couple of years ago, his job transferred us to New England. So we got to spend the last year and a half in Massachusetts, outside of Boston. That was short-lived. That was a fun experience. New England is gorgeous, but his job got us transferred to Chicago. We hope to be here longer term. I think we are going to be. And we I love it. I love it. I love the city. I don't know if you can kind of tell in the background, like just that grungy, lots of color. It really does influence. Like I absolutely love urban art. I love the hustle and bustle of the city. I think there's just so many things to capture and look at. And my wheels, every time we're downtown, my wheels are turning. Like, I mean, it probably gets on my husband's nerves. He's just like, will you stop? And I'm like, oh, this idea. And he's like, write it down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a contrast between Missouri and.
Oh, I grew up in a small town. I grew up in the country, and I've always been drawn to the city.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Yeah, you can see the with the color and the marks, the edginess of your work is definitely influenced by where
Absolutely.
Now, I know you do what you call these kind of urban art walks. So take us on one of those and tell us a little bit about what that is like and how you approach that.
Yeah. So there's a couple of neighborhoods that are in and around downtown Chicago that are known for their murals and their street art. And I mean, so, a lot of tagging too, and things like that, but a lot of that the city commissioned these artists to do these huge things. And there's Wicker Park and Pilsen that we've done. You can just go and walk around and find them and dip down these little alleyways and find them yourself, or they also have these apps that you can do guided tours, which is really cool. So I've always been drawn to that. I've always had an urban edginess to my work that I really like. Well, since we had moved here, I was like, I want to tap back into this. I've got some ideas. I've never spray painted before. I even wanted to go as far as spray painted. So I kind of went into research mode, and we did a couple of those walks. I hit my husband. I mean, he just does everything with me. I sign him up I'm like, here, you got to do this with me. So we actually did a urban paint night, which we went to this studio, and they just had a bunch of stencils and a bunch of spray paint and showed us how to like fade and how to change the nozzles and do more fine lines and all. And I was hooked. I immediately went to Blix and bought a bunch of spray paint, and like you can see some spray paint marks and stuff. So I've been doing that the last few months and having fun, just kind of learning more about spray painting, and it's fun.
Yeah, how cool is that? And I guess being in the city that you're in, I'm sure the opportunity to go to those kinds of things is probably more prevalent than in Missouri. I know even where I live, we don't have a whole lot of that. So there's
something I mean, I do sometimes realize how much we have at our fingertips. I mean, being in a bigger city, for sure. I mean, if I wanted to do something artistic like that every weekend, I could find something. So very, very, very fortunate, very blessed.
And then museums and other things. You probably have open studios that artists have, which are pretty amazing. I've done that when I've been in New York, and I loved it. But I mean, we don't have that in, small town beachside. Not where I live. So definitely having all of that at your fingertips must be just so inspiring. And
it's inspiring. Never lack of refilling the well.
Yeah.
I'm always refilling the well.
Yeah. I would think also it would be sort of like, whoa, okay, I've got like way too much.
Oh yeah.
Stimulation, so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to pump the brakes sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, how about like obstacles when you're creating? What do you experience? I don't know if they're called creative blocks so much, or just, do you, with all of the inspiration and ideas, do you still that? And how do you deal with it?
I absolutely do. And I read the book, the War on Art, The War of Art.
Okay.
The Art of War. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it's Stephen Pressfield that read it. And it's funny because I think of creative block as actually resistance. And it's just and it could be anything. It could show up as procrastination, as I can't paint, I can't write. It's a creative block, this and that. And I get it all the time. I do. I'm a journaler, and I've had diaries I've written my whole life. And that's a huge way for me to get it out. And I've even come in the studio and walked in and been overwhelmed. Like, I've got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I almost just want to turn around and walk out and almost not do any of it. Right. And I'll sit down, I'll grab a journal, and instead of like fighting with it, and maybe I won't, maybe it still is kind of a flop day and that's just what it is. But I'm going to at least sit down and journal. I mean, like literally write out, just brain dump. That helps me a lot. That helps me get through a lot if I can keep up with my journaling.
Sure. It sounds a lot like the artist way in doing the morning pages, where it's get it out, get it out, get it out. And none of it makes any sense. I don't do that regularly. I start out really good for a while and then I kind of drop off, but then I go back to it and then I drop off. But it's definitely a good, let's get it out and let's just kind of clear it, you know?
Yeah.
And I find sometimes rather than handwriting, typing it, because I can type faster.
Yeah.
Like I can get it all out and then my hand doesn't get tired from the cramping of writing and I just kind of like go with it. But
my handwriting has become atrocious since we are all now typing and texting. Like I feel like I can't write without getting a cramp in my hand. I'm like, what's that?
I know, it's like it's only been 10 minutes. What's going on here? But it's true. We're used to the keyboard. I mean, we've been using these for decades now. So it's like my penmanship's terrible. And I'd love for it to be nicer, but it's like it's too late for me now. So it's all over with. But so now you also, I know you had mentioned before, follow through. And you said procrastination. I think you said follow through. We're just like getting to the point where you're doing. And so do you struggle sometimes like starting something and then maybe losing interest, or is it something else that isn't keeping?
I think it goes back to the too many ideas thing. The new shiny idea. And if something takes way too long, and that's just something I've struggled with my whole life, I think. But I'm getting better at it. And what's funny is I'm actually a project manager by day, by career. So it's funny that I say that because that side of the brain does finish things and see things through. And then just sometimes when it comes, it's because I kind of want to turn that off so I can be free and open and creative and then that tends, I'm trying to find the good balance between letting the project manager help me finish the project out and still keeping that open creativeness and things that can adjust really quickly and
because we have to be flexible,
intuitive and
Do you find working on multiple projects or multiple things at the same time help you?
Absolutely.
Sort of bored with that. And my attention span's like 0 too. So it's like, oh gosh, I'm getting bored with that. Let's do something else. And then just kind of rotate everything around. It's like you got 4 projects going on at once.
But that helps me. That absolutely helps me because I'll always have something to work on when I walk in. No matter what mood I'm in, because I could be pick up an art journal and try to start recording. I've recorded before and I have so many blooper reels from that day. I said, just stop. You can't talk today. You cannot record yourself today. It's not happening. So just turn around and I start something else just to help get through that day.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You should save those though, because I'm sure one day your students will love to see a blooper roll kind of at the end.
Well, they're my favorite. I don't know if they're going to be of myself, but I love watching blooper reels.
I know, I do too. But when you're doing them, you're just like, and I'll just be like, really? I did it again. Okay, let's start over. And I'll be like trying to get my face looking right. It's like all this. I'm like, you know what? These are so funny. We should probably save them for, people know that we don't just turn the video camera on and we're going. It's
that's like the first take. How is she so articulate and looks so well put together? It took me 50 times. Okay, it's not.
Yeah, I realize
puppies and rainbows.
It's so true. I realize, I don't know where I might have heard somebody that was actually a video person say, don't keep stopping and deleting and starting over. Just pause and then start over. And then you can edit that when you get to the editing process. And it's like, oh, okay. And so that helps, unless there's way too many. And then I'm like, oh, then editing on this is going to be a nightmare. I'm starting over. So.
I'm going to try that next time because I do have about 10 short videos that I'm doing some weird faces in.
You just kind of realize you do it and then you just stop. Don't move your head. and then just
Pause.
keep going. That way the editing will seem a little natural rather than, not like you're doing this and then you cut and then the next time you're like this, you're saying just keep your head straight and don't move. But anyway, it seems to work unless you have tons of things you have to redo.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, you walk into your studio and what is the natural process for you? Like what do you do? Do you begin with a starter of something? Do you warm up? What do you do to kind of get going?
Yeah. So I usually almost always have some type of warm up. Either it's just pushing paint around, mixing paint. Actually, sometimes to get me in the process, just cleaning and organizing. I know a lot of people can't, after their session, they can't leave their studio messy. I'm the opposite. If I, especially the days I'm kind of fighting getting in here, I'm like, well, just go organize then. And as soon as I get in here and I start organizing, start playing, before you know it, I'm playing or whatever. But my process can be anything from coming in and just wanting to get emotions out, or just, art journaling, to like what we were mentioning earlier about going to the urban art paint night. And sometimes I go in full research mode. The project manager, side of me is I brainstorm ideas. I put them all down on paper. I may throw some stuff on my bulletin board, pull some colors together. So I can do a little bit of both depending on what my mood is, what the project I feel calls for. I mean, if it's something video that I want to do for people, I'll be a little bit more. But if it's a quick, I'm going to share just a fun journal that's for me, I'll just get in here and start playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, how is I know you talked a little bit about scrapbooking, but let's kind of bring that to the mixed media. How has it changed since you left the kind of the scrapbooking, started doing the art journaling and kind of moving? How would you say your work has changed over the years, say the last 10 years? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say I've always had, even in my scrapbooking days, I was still trying to make my own backgrounds. Instead of using a lot of paper, I was always wanting to add paint and make it a little bit grungy. I've always had that look, even in my blog back in the day when I had my blog, or my old scrapbooking blog, it was still that urban feel. So I think that's carried all the way through. But just in the past 10 years, self-teaching, taking classes from artists that I love, and other little class art sessions and things like that, I definitely feel like I've learned more about the rules, like color theory and things like that. So I've definitely come a long way since then in terms of what I know and kind of the rules and how to break them. In art, if you know the rules, it's really good, because then you know how you can tweak them and make them your own voice. Sure. So I feel like I've come a long way since then, but there's so much to learn. That's what's so exciting about this. You're never done with art. And I feel like so many people have turned around and helped me like on my journey. So that's the feeling I get, that I want to do, that I want to turn around and kind of, come on, just try it, just start painting, just try mixing these two colors together. So I like turning around and helping people as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that, because there is so much influence, and we all start somewhere, and having somebody to kind of help guide us and kind of take us along and go, okay, try this, and you can do this, and really encourage, and really you can do that. So that kind of leads me into the next part of this, is how your struggle has been with technology, because being somebody who wants to help others in this day and time, you need to have some tech skills, and having an online business, or just even having your hobby online where you're able to help others and get yourself out there is a real challenge. So how has that been for you? Like, what has been your biggest struggle as far as that goes?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as say I'm tech savvy compared to, a lot of people around me. I would be the type of person that would get on an app and figure out something real quick, or I can figure out how to set up my profile. I've already done that. I've already set up my profile and figured out how to get. But when it came to like a deeper level of a website, and I mean, the blog that I mentioned back that I had was what was it? The Google blog that was.
It was Blogger.
Blogger. That's what I had. And, props to Blogger. It gave us all a voice and we didn't have to know how to set up anything. We just wrote. Yep. So I definitely think in my head, the last couple of years, it was a little monster that I never wanted to tackle. It seemed not little, it was a big monster. It seemed too big for me. So I definitely think I wanted to have all that stuff. I just thought I was going to have to pay someone to build it, to be honest. And I didn't want to fork out that money right now.
Right. It's a big investment. And there's a lot of moving parts that come into that. Yeah. And then you've got the idea or the issue of, now that it's done, can I maintain it? Can I update it? Can I manage this? And can I feel confident in my ability to do that? And so, I mean, just even having a website, I hear so many creatives just say, I really, really want to do this, but I just don't think I can. Like, it's too much for me. It's like that.
I said it and I figure out everything. And I think, I don't put myself down, but I thought that'll be one day in the way future that I'll have a website and a newsletter and all this stuff. Yeah.
Right. So how has it changed then since you've been a member of Makers Tech U? Because I already know the answer to that.
Funny that you mentioned. I think I followed you as an artist for a long time before MTU, and I don't remember when you started MTU.
I started with a beta team around the middle of 2018, and then I opened the doors up early 19 once I kind of got feet on the ground.
So I think I figured out what you were doing at about a year and a half ago. I think it was the beginning of last year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I didn't even have big hopes and dreams. I just thought, you know what? I really like Roben-Marie, and I bet she could help me up my Instagram game or up my, this and that. And I wanted to see what you were using to record. I wanted to start recording. So that's how it kind of started.
Curiosity
And just do the little things.
Yeah.
And then the big website monster, I started watching some of the videos. I'm like, she literally is holding my hand. Mm-hmm. I'm like, each video is this little digestible chunk. I can do this. I think I can do this. Mm-hmm. And so I started last year. And once you just start, it was at the end of last year when I started the website, and I had it launched at the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. And that was in the middle of a move across the country.
Yeah,
I did it. So,
yeah.
So people saying you can't do it. I promise you.
And you work.
So I launched the website, huh?
And you work. You have a job.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You were able to fit that in and work through that and do it.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I was so proud of myself when I got that done. I was like, oh my gosh, what's the next big monster on my list? I'm not lying. I love it. I couldn't believe it. I was so proud of myself.
Yeah, and your website is beautiful. And
thank you.
We're definitely, I have students that run the gamut. Like, I have some that are like, I just want to get something up, which is great. Yeah. Get something out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you were very, you were really invested in the design and how it looked, and really wanting, and you did a great job. Like, you would say, can you look at this? Can you see? And I would be like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can really see that you didn't just grasp the techie part of it. You were able to infuse your creativity and your personality into it. And so
you're right. You're right. Because now that I remember, I created at that time, I was like, well, now I need my own personal logo. So I created my own logo and my own watermark and all the little things I wanted. after I started and it really starts empowering you, get this momentum going, I didn't want to just put something up there. I wanted to be able to step onto it every time and be like, oh, it's so pretty. Like, I'm so proud of myself. This is a website that I would go on and I would want to scroll up and down and look at everything.
Yeah. And you definitely accomplished that because it's beautiful. Yeah. And I love that. And that's huge. I know you have some other goals. So how has that, in what way has that changed your online presence from before you had your website?
Well, my online presence, I feel like has gotten a little bit more solid, and it helped me be a little bit more serious about what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I currently, my next step, I know you're probably going to ask, is I'm going to add an online shop this winter to it. It's just made me feel stronger and stronger versus always wanting to share my videos, wanting to share all this stuff, but not really having the ability to do it. And I just kept thinking it was this one big hurdle that I can't get to yet. And now I'm a year later and I have people signed up for my newsletter. People are signing up like every month. I have new people signing up. I feel like I have a voice and I can help people. And that's so my passion is just to encourage people, give them just a little bit of happiness or creativity in their life, even just a little thing in their email or just a little 5-minute video. Hey, did you know, da, 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 da. And that it was because of MTU that I could do all of this. I mean, now I'm on a roll.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, okay, what else can I do now? It's like just that one. And a lot of that was just, it was, you're telling yourself this is big and I can't probably do this. And so then when it's, oh, wait a minute, she's telling me I can and showing me that, oh my gosh, it really is doable. And here's how. And then, like you said, I love what you were saying. And then it's like, what else can I do now? It's like, oh my gosh.
Then the newsletter came and then all this. And then I was updating all my stuff and updating little other Get Teachable account. I was doing all this stuff now.
I love it.
My big monster has turned into me being a monster, a tech monster now. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, that said, what advice would you give to someone who is kind of not sure and they're sort of like, oh, I'm just too scared of the technology and I don't know what to do. What advice do you have for them?
I mean, this is going to sound too oversimplified, but seriously, just do it. At least just look at the videos. Just watch the videos, watch a couple of them and don't even do anything. It's so easy. And like we were even saying how I really got into mine and was making my own. You don't even have to do that. You don't have to. You can have a very clean, pretty looking website without going crazy too. And you can come back later and adjust it more. But it is so, it just is not as scary as as people think it is. It really is manageable and doable. And you'll know, going way back to what you were saying, can I maintain this?
Right.
Like, I can't believe the other day I was like, oh, I see, sometimes how Instagram will disconnect with your feed to your website. Listen to me talk. And I'm like, oh, do. And I went straight to it without even, and I'm like, who am I? I'm like, this is crazy. But I mean, even having you as a resource, like, some things you don't do that often. I may forget. All I got to do is go back to MTU, find the video real quick and just step through it. So
I love to hear that though, because that's much like you want to serve and help others. That is so much my passion, is to artists and creatives just like you say what you're saying. Like, I didn't think I could, and now I'm on a roll, and I can do this on my own, and just I can see the confidence you are exuding it in your body language and your expression. I just know I can see it. So that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just a scary thing to just go, all right, just start. You have nothing to lose, really. It's just start it and try. Yeah. And you had said too, oh, well, maybe I'll just go in and I'll just learn a few things about Instagram or whatever. But it's so much more than that. And you get to choose, And so taking on that bigger project was like, I got this. Yeah, I got this. So I love that. So you mentioned I think you mentioned your shop. What other goals do you have for your creative business in the next 6 months?
Sure. So, Yeah, this winter. So the job that I have right now is we have our busy season. So I've kind of stepped back a little bit just to get through the next couple months. And then winter should be lightening up for my day job, and I'll have a little bit more time. So I want to get my online shop added to my website. I've already started. You can't see them, but on this other wall is a series of canvases. So I want to get some inventory built up so I can put them on said shop. And I want my third one, which will be after those two, is get a little bit of a longer online course workshop. It's something that has been turning in my head about the urban art walks that you and I have been talking about. So I've got a little workshop idea in my head that's.
So I don't know what that workshop idea is, but I remember, I forget, I think it was my salvage class. And I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah, sure.
What I added to it were field trips. And so I did field trips where I went and gathered and shopped in the antique stores and the junk stores for the books and the papers. And my mom went with me because I was in Charleston visiting her. And I was like, okay, I want people to see what I'm seeing and how I make choices. And then I had another friend, we went to the flea market and we were filming all of that. And I loved doing it. And it was kind of a fun addition to the class. It's like, well, find your stuff. Yeah, that's what people ask. I'll take you along. And then
that's a great idea.
I don't know if there might be something in there.
That's a great idea.
I'm not trying to say, hey, do your class like this, but wouldn't it be fun to take people along, the students along, on something like that, where it's through your eyes, you're showing them where you're gathering that inspiration from.
I like it.
Because they can get that.
And I love artists like us that share ideas and don't hold them in or bounce more off of what you had going. You know, I love that about, artists like you that I followed. And it's a good thing when everybody wants to share ideas and help each other out. I love that. Thank you.
Well, that's what makes the community so special, I think, too.
Yep.
It's a great community. So tell us a little bit about some activities that kind of come second to your creative life. I do love the fact, though, that your husband goes with you and does some of these things. I think it's
the stuff I drag him to do. And before you said that, it just made me think of something. Before I had an arm, for my phone to record things. Oh my gosh, I tried to get him to be a cameraman.
Oh,
he had the giggles so bad that he was over me, and all I wanted was like a 10-second flip through of my art journal. And he was over me, and I'm doing this, and I can hear him go,
oh my goodness.
And I'm like, are you laughing again? So yeah, he's a good sport. He does everything. So what was the question?
Things that you do that kind of come second to your creative.
Oh yeah.
Like just hobbies and things you're interested outside of that. Yeah.
I love to read. I am a pretty big reader. I usually have 2 to 3 books I'm reading at one time. I usually have either a sci-fi or something or a thriller that I love. And then usually a motivational book or some kind of business help book or something that, you're learning and growing. But besides that, we have 2 rescue dogs, 2 golden retrievers, and we love to travel with them. We love to go hiking and camping and adventuring, and we'll take the dogs with us almost every time we can. So that's a huge thing, I think, too, is travel. We're trying to plan a trip to Germany next year. So hopefully everything will be opened and things will be back to normal.
Whereabouts in Germany?
Well, my stepson and his fiance, they're getting married, and they're living in Dusseldorf right now. So we're hoping to go to the wedding and then extend our trip and travel around.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've been to Germany twice. It was one of my favorite countries. It's beautiful, and the people were so friendly and amazing.
Nice.
Like, I loved it.
I've never been. I can't wait.
It's what time of year would it be roughly? Do you think?
The summer.
Oh, the summer. Okay, I went when it was freezing cold. It was like early February, but I still loved it, even though it was freezing cold. But it was amazing. So I hope that works out for you guys.
Yeah, me too.
That'll be such an amazing trip. So. Well, okay. So I like to finish up with, what is your superpower? Like, what is that thing that it's something unique to you, or you just kind of go, yeah, that's what I'm good at. And I love that about,
I would say, I feel like, and I've been told a few times, is like my energy and passion for things, and getting people excited about just people around me. I get people excited about different things. So I would say that's it. I get fired up, and I get people around me pumped up about, about things. And in turn, I really like when I meet new people, finding that thing. You can just tell the change in their face and in their eyes when you have tapped into something that they're talking about, what they truly love. And then I always want to hear more about that.
And that's a gift, that's a real gift, to be able to be a good listener, find out what that is, and then show that genuine interest and really engage that person in that and learning more about.
And it's genuine, because I really, you just, when you see someone light up, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even like that, whatever it is you're talking about, but you're excited about it. You're getting me excited about it. So talk more about it.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of, it kind of just comes right on you, what you feeling that energy. So it kind of goes back and forth. So, well, I think that's awesome. So is there anything coming up that you would like to share? I know you've got some things you're working on, but they're not quite ready, but I know we'll have your social links in the post.
Yeah.
Will be available. Is there any particular project or anything that you're doing coming up that you want to share at all?
So I'm doing a collaboration with Lisa Young and her Creative 6-Day Challenge, and it's all on my website. They can link to it. And I'm going to be a guest teacher in November. So I've already gotten the class filmed. I need to just do a little bit more editing and an intro, and that'll be ready. And that'll be uploading to her site, which again, they can find through my website, or if anyone knows who Lisa Young and the Creative 6-Day Challenge is. And it's free, and she's done this this whole year. So November, I'll be throwing a video.
That's Lisa from Alaska.
Yes.
Okay. So my husband and I, a few years ago, went to Alaska because his family was there for a temporary time, and we actually met. We finally met face to face.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Her husband, her husband got off work, met my husband and I, and we had dinner together. But we had never met since we were there, and we were not far from where she was. Like, we need to meet one another, and it was wonderful.
And that's the beautiful thing. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about this art community. I still have friends from 10 years ago from the scrapbooking world that if I picked up the phone and said I was in your area, I know I could probably stay there. Yep. And I've met a lot of people over the years in person like that, and it's a cool thing.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I live in Florida. It was all the way in Alaska.
That's crazy.
And we've been kept in touch ever since. So it's pretty
awesome.
Cool. But I will get that link, and I'll put that inside the post. So
nice. Okay.
You don't have to go and search for it. We'll put that in there, so that'll be available as well.
Perfect.
So, great.
Thank you so much.
You. I really enjoyed spending time with you. I hope our listeners and our viewers have been inspired by you. And I think if anybody has any questions, they can certainly reach out to you. We'll have your contact information in the post, and they can do that. So I wish you the best of luck. I know you've got a lot of goals coming up in the next 6 months, but I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
Roben-Marie, thank you for everything you do. I really thank you. You are a true inspiration, and thank you for everything you do and give to us.
I appreciate you saying. I love it. It's definitely been a blessing in my life, and I'm just thankful that I have Makers Tech U and all these audience and these wonderful artists that I am able to help. So. All right. Well, awesome. Great. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching, those of you that are watching. And thank you. We'll see you later then.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you ready to turn overwhelm into something manageable? Listen, I know you have a dream for your creative business, but you know it takes learning technology to make that happen. So stop wasting piecing it all together with YouTube videos that end up confusing you even more. Let me help you make learning and mastering the tech easy and fun, so you can spend more time focused on your art passion. Take a look at Makers Tech U. Investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make. So check it out at makerstechu.com/join. And I hope to see you on the inside.